Hi, I'm Jeff Mocini, the founder and creator of Slopegraide. In this video, I'm going to talk about Model Local Rule G11 and why it was relevant to assessing Collin Morikawa a two-stroke penalty at the Hero World Challenge this past weekend. Now, to provide a backstory of what happened there, Collin and his caddy were using a leveling device on the practice green, which was allowed, which was most likely an iPhone app that was not ours, and this app had taken the phone's placement on the green and determined a slope measurement, which then provided a recommended line of play based on three things: the distance to the hole, the slope incline up or downhill, and the green speed. Where the rules infraction occurred is either Collin or his caddy had taken this recommended line of play, or a series of recommended lines of play, or in other words break tables, and had wrote them down as handwritten notes in the approved yardage book that was given out by the committee to each player and caddy at the beginning of the week, which violates Model Local Rule G11, which we will get to in a minute. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of break tables. I am against them, for it is very rare that you will have a consistent slope for a putt on the green outside of 5 feet. And I believe that a better way to go about that issue is strengthening visualization skills, which at the end of the video, I will show you a great way you can do that. But for now, we're going to dive into what Model Local Rule G11 says and the history behind it. Now, Model Local Rule G11 was introduced on the PGA Tour at the beginning of the 2022 season, which restricts the use of green reading materials, and its purpose was to not only put the limitations on the size and scale of detailed green reading materials, such as those found in green reading books, but it also ensured that players and caddies use only their eyes and feel when determining the line of play, in order to create an equal playing field across the board. Now, before, green reading books were used a lot by players and caddies on tour, and a lot of critics had argued that it slowed the pace of play down and took the skill element out of putting. So as a response to those critics, this Model Local Rule was put into effect. And now it was originally designed to only apply to the highest competitions out there for golf, which was on the PGA Tour, Korn Ferry Tour, USGA Championships, R&A Championships, and the NCAA Division I National Championship. Now, this rule takes a little bit of diving into to understand what is allowed and what isn't, because it is written in a way that can cause some confusion and questions, and this video is going to address all those things. So, when introducing this local rule, the committee is responsible for approving the yardage book that players may use, and the approved yardage book should contain diagrams and putting greens with minimal detail, such as significant slopes, tiers, or false edges that indicate sections of a green. Now, this is a macro level of the design of the green, whether there's one shelf, two shelves, three shelves, and any significant slopes that can impact where a player wants to hit their ball going into the green. This is what that means. Now, players and caddies can add handwritten notes to the approved yardage book to help them read a line of play in a putting green, so long as those notes are allowed under this rule, which states this. Let me scroll down for a minute. During a round, the player may use the yardage books approved by the committee. This restriction also applies to any other maps of the course, including hole location sheets. Now, this means that green reading books and past pin sheets cannot be used under this local rule. Additional restrictions apply to handwritten notes and any other materials used by the player that could help read a line of play on the putting green. Handwritten notes may be added to an approved yardage book or approved hole location sheet before and during a round by the player or the player's caddy, and are limited to the information gathered by the player or caddy only. So that means that you cannot send somebody else to get this information for you. You cannot use another player or another caddy's information that they've gathered on their own. Now, handwritten notes may contain information gained only through personal experiences of the player or the player's caddy from the course or by watching a televised broadcast, but are limited to the information gained while observing a ball that was rolled or played, whether by the player, caddy, or someone else, or through a player's or caddy's feel or general observations on the putting green. Now this is where things get interesting. You can record observations of balls rolling on the green, but what does that look like? Does that mean, okay, it broke this much? Or is it just a general observation of how a ball rolled? Like, that is up for a debate. That's still some vagueness to this rule, which I believe will need to get revisited later if this infraction happens again. Now, these additional restrictions on handwritten notes or other materials do not apply to such information where they cannot help the player read the line of play on a putting green, such as handwritten or printed information containing swing thoughts or listing carry distances for the player's clubs. That data is okay. During a round, if a player uses a yardage book, other maps of the course, or a whole location sheet that has not been approved by the committee, grade rating books, pin sheets not approved, an approved yardage book or approved whole location sheet that contains a handwritten note or information gathered in a manner that is not allowed, such as break tables, slope percentages of the green, or any other materials that can help with reading the line of play on the putting green, whether a specific putting green or greens in general, which does include our product rule maps, which would violate Model Local Rule G11. The player is in breach of this local rule, and the penalty statement under Rule 4-3 applies, which the first offense is a 2-stroke penalty, which occurred to Collin Morikawa. The second offense is disqualification. Now, use means to look at any page of a yardage book or other maps of the course or a whole location sheet that has not been approved by the committee. So even if you have it in your yardage book and you don't necessarily look at it, but a player sees you open it, that could put you in a position where you could unintentionally breach rules. Or any of the following when doing so when that could help a player or caddy read the line of play in the putting green: a page in an approved yardage book or an approved whole location sheet that contains a handwritten note or information gathered in a manner that is not allowed, or any other materials. End of this local rule. Now, personally, I had talked to Steve Rintoul, the vice president of PGA rules and officiating on the PGA Tour, and he had stressed that any data-driven tool cannot be used during a tournament, or during a tournament round, I should say, when Model Local Rule G11 is in effect. But in the practice screen, you can use it, but during practice rounds, it could be extended to limit the use of data capturing devices, such as levels, on the green themselves. But, and there's a big but here, there is a solution for you now, based on this infraction that occurred. This past August, we released a new feature in the Slopegraide app called Course Mode, which displays any green in our database based on geospatial data of a region, and you can simulate putts as if you're there in real time. And here on the left, you will see the Slopegraide app. Now, when you're playing a practice round at one of these events, your time on each screen during your practice round is limited, and there's only so much observation that you can make. Course Mode is going to take that limitation and throw it out the window. This allows you to be on any green at any time and capture as much data and observation that you want that's within the rules here. So let's go into Course Mode, and I'm going to pull up a course here that's in the PGA Tour rotation. Let's go with the Riviera Country Club. How about it? So while that loads, now my camera is activated here at my office, and I can select any of the 18 greens that are on the course, as well as the 2 practice greens that are at the Riviera Country Club. So let's go with one of the famous holes at Riviera, hole 10. So this provides a green here that was modeled based on geospatial data, and this shows me the significant slopes on this green greater than 3.5%, and less than 3.5%. And this tells me where a tournament can place a pin on the screen. So I'm just going to blow it up here just a little bit. And what I've seen the pin out front here earlier in the tournament, and then towards the end of the week it will be placed here or even here. And every time I set the pin here, it's going to give me the estimated amount of paces from the edges of the green. So let's just put it in the front here just for simplicity. I'm going to set the whole location, and then I'm going to say, where is my ball on the screen? Or hypothetically, where do I want to putt from? So let's just say that, like, we tried to drive the green, we chipped, and then we ended up back here. Hopefully we still stayed on the green. This is very difficult to chip on. And then we're going to press set putt here. And now this green has been blown up in life size and augmented reality. And I could set the green speed here. Usually this tournament's set to 11.5 or faster. And this is a pretty slick putt. So let's just say that I'm going to just increase the velocity here just a little bit. And when I press roll ball, this is going to show me how this putt would roll if I were to hit this putt right here. It's going to show me how this ball would break on the screen. And it is possible that you can record the observation of the ball rolling on the screen in your approved yardage book. Now, it said from the course, but what does that exactly mean? Does that mean being on the actual course, or does that extend to representations of the course, or a televised broadcast? Now, there's only so many holes that a televised broadcast can provide. This allows you to be anywhere at any time and provides you with a system that you can use to strengthen your visualization skills as if you're having this putt right here, and you'll know exactly how it breaks based on the observations that you experience here in the Slopegraide app. If I wanted to simulate putts with the flagstick in, I could do that by pressing the show flagstick button here and then hit the roll ball to see how the ball would react when hitting the flagstick. Pretty realistic there. Now, if I wanted to see this last ball roll on loop and take this observation and record it in my approved yardage book, I can then just loop the last putt, and I can then record like the arc or general observation of this ball rolling on the green. Now, if I want to change the location, I just press reset putt in the top right corner, and let's just say that I laid up this time and I went over the green, which can happen. And then I can just repeat for as many putts as I'm interested in and record the observation here in my yardage book. That was approved by the committee. Now you have every single green from this course at your disposal. We're currently adding new courses every week. Most of the courses on the PGA Tour are listed here in the Slopegraide app. There are a few that are not, due to either old data or the greens having been redone, which includes Wildlife Country Club, Murfield Village, and now Colonial Country Club, as courses that will need a new data set for us to put in. But most courses in the rotation are there, and new courses are being added every single week. So if you have a particular course request, please don't hesitate to send us a message on our Instagram at Slopegraide, or you could send us an email at info@slopegraide.com, and we will work to get that in as soon as possible for you. And that is the end of this video. We covered why Collin Morikawa was assessed a 2-stroke penalty at the Hero World Challenge for illegal handwritten notes in relation to putts breaking on a green. We also covered the explicit text of Model Local Rule G11 that restricts or prohibits the use of green reading materials in elite competitions. And we provided you with a new visualization tool that's available right now in the Slopegraide iOS app that can help you mitigate this local rule if it's in effect for your tournament. This is a competitive advantage. This is something that I use for all of my qualifiers and tournaments that I play in as a mid-amateur, and I know that it can help you too. If you have any questions about this video or have a specific course request, please don't hesitate to send us an email at info@slopegraide.com. You can also send us a direct message at Slopegraide, and we will be happy to assist you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel and share this video with a friend.